Hey guys, we made it back from the Florida Bash. Everything was awesome. We had a great time down there. Now back to work. Got the wife's Mustang up here at the garage, and I noticed before we left that there was a kind of a grinding noise going on up here in this wheel. And sure enough, when I got to checking it, the front wheel bearings are pretty well toast on this side. And I thought, well, if I'm going to do it, I'm just going to go ahead and do both sides. So I ordered both the hub assemblies. They come already with the bearings and stuff in them. And you have to take the brake caliper, the caliper holder, the rotor, which I just now got this unbolted, and pop it off. Oh, hang on a second. I just put rotors on this thing when I did brakes on here a few months ago. I got to take the spindle nut off, which they say is a one-time use only deal. It's got the spare one right here. It's got some flats on either side of it, kind of like a retention nut. So I'm assuming that once you take it off, they say not to reuse it because there's a possibility it could slide off. This thing gets torqued up to like 220 foot-pounds when I put it back. So but I'll get the dust cap pulled off and get this thing disassembled, and I'll bring you back and show you some more of it. Take care. Okay, that was that was fun. A 3/4 breaker bar with a 3-foot piece of pipe on it and my 220 pounds. That was still all I could do to break that thing loose. I tell you, but this thing is pretty crusty. I'm not sure if you can hear it or not. Let me. It's all dry. It doesn't look like there's any grease left in it. I'm not sure how well you can see down in there, but the bearings are shiny. So this was definitely the side that was the worst, but I'm going to go ahead and change them both since I got all the stuff to do it. We got these things off of the new ones from Rock Auto for about half what the local auto parts places wanted for them. I got both of them for like $53. So shipping was very minimal. Yeah, that doesn't sound very good at all. But anyway, I'm going to get the spindle cleaned up and make sure there's no score marks or anything on it, and get it all ready to go back and stick the new one on there. And I'll bring you guys back here in just a minute. Take care. I almost forgot to tell you the rest of it. While I've got this apart, I changed the shocks in the back a couple of weeks ago, and these struts are pretty well toast too. So while I'm in here this deep, it's only a couple more bolts back here on the back side of this thing just to go ahead and change the struts. So before I put the rotor and the hub, brake caliper and all that stuff back on, I'm going to go ahead and change the struts on this thing too. This one of those while you're at it deals, you know how it goes. I'll bring you back when I get a chance to show you something else. Take care. That was fun. I went to take the 21mm bolt head out of the bottom of the strut, broke the only 21mm socket that I had. So I had to close up everything, run to the auto parts store and pick up another 21mm socket to get that bolt loose on that 3/4 inch power handle there. Then I had to get a 24 for the nut on the opposite side of it. Probably can't see it, sorry it's so dark. Trying to get that thing back on there. But anyway, I finally got it. Got the hub on there and got it torqued up to 223 foot-pounds. That was pretty much me standing on the thing, because that's about what I weigh trying to get that much on it. But anyway, it's got all the play and everything out of it, and that sounds much better. So now I can go ahead and put the caliper bracket, the caliper, the rotor, brake pads, everything back on it. Then jump over to the other side. It's been about 2.5 hours with the trip to town and everything. Trying to get everything put together. The other side should go a little quicker now. Hopefully I've got the tools and I don't break anything else. I got the top of the strut tightened down. I kind of like the way they put a slot in this as opposed to those little flats on some of those. I think that's what was on the old one. The problem with these is you're holding it, trying to back the nut off of the threads, and once you get up so high, you ain't got nothing to hold on to anymore. Luckily, by the time I got up that far, it came off pretty quickly. So I figure the other one will probably seize up and I'll have to burn it off with the plasma cutter the way my luck's going today. But anyway, I'll bring you back when I get everything else done on the other side, and maybe we'll go for a test drive if I get done before dark. Right now it's 4:30. I got a couple hours to go before dinner time, so I'm hoping I can get the other side done and get that thing back together. It's been an experience. I hadn't done struts on the front of this thing before, so I didn't know what size sockets or anything I needed. I got all kinds of stuff in here, but it never fails. The one tool you need you don't have, and then the one I had I broke. So anyway, I'll bring you guys back when I got something else to show you. Take care. Sometimes these things can be a little stubborn to get off here. I tried to pry that thing off with a couple of small pry bars, screwdrivers, some other stuff. And I finally gave up trying to pry on it before I broke something and went in and got the wheel puller. And it didn't take a whole lot of force to finally break that thing loose. I guess there was just a little bit of corrosion in there around the spindle between the edge of it and the bearing housing. So I'll get that thing pulled off. Let's see here. I'll do this one-handed. Sorry for the shaky cam. There it goes. All right. See if it'll slide off there. Yeah. I tell you what. Well, I'm gonna have to shut you guys off. It's gonna take both hands, but I'll get it off her and get it cleaned and get her put back together, and I'll bring you back then. Take care. Now I see why it was making so much noise. When I popped it off of there just now, the bearing came with it, and the race is sitting back here on this edge. That may be a problem. May end up having to get the die grinder or the Dremel out. I'm hoping that I can soak that down in some PB Blaster and kind of twist around on it, maybe get it loose. Here goes nothing. Okay, little action from the flame wrench right there, and little heat, little smoke, and finally got it off there. I was beginning to think I was going to have to weld something onto it to slide it off, because it had really gotten all that goop and stuff, the rust and corrosion behind it right there to the bevel and the spindle. Ow, that's hot. So now I'm going to let it cool off naturally. I didn't get it, this was the hottest part on it. I didn't even get the spindle that hot. I was trying to heat this to expand it, but I don't want to quench that because I don't want to harden that thing and cause issues with it cracking. So I'm going to let it cool off and do some cleanup, and whenever it's back down to where I can actually touch it, I'm going to take some 600 grit emery cloth and clean all that scale and stuff off of there, put a light layer of grease on it, and then put the hub back on. So while that's doing that, I'm going to work on getting the bolts for the strut and everything taken loose and get that squared away. But yeah, I was beginning to think that wasn't coming off. I heated it for a good 5 minutes going round and round, and finally took the pliers and was able to twist it off. So that's another option. The pipe wrench wouldn't even grab a hold of it because these things are hardened. They wouldn't even bite on there. I tried to twist it off with that. Of course, it's probably a good thing that it didn't, because if I'd have started spinning that thing around and got it all masked up to where I couldn't get a hold of it, it would have made it worse. But yeah, good old heat. You just have to watch and make sure that you don't hit your ABS sensor or any of your other critical stuff back in here. Luckily, there's no seals or anything in this. I did want to make sure I didn't get down there and get it too hot next to where the ball joint and stuff's at. But if you're real careful, you can take the torch and get it off. So I'm going to clean this up and start on the strut tower, or I'm sorry, the strut, and I'll bring you guys back when we got something else to show you. Take care.